Hello friends, my name is Abhilash Saini and I'm a professional geophysicist currently working with ground penetrating radar. In this lecture, we are going to see what sort of resolutions that are we have to deal in GPR prospecting. Before further ado, I would like to introduce you some of the lecture that's been previously uh, uploaded here. We have uh, history of GPR coming from 1900 to 2020. What happens between these uh, segments to the GPR technology? How the GPR technology is evolved during this period. So we have covered it all in this particular lecture, and secondly we have the basic terminologies related to the GPR. So before going further, one has to know what are the terminologies and what is the basic theory of GPR. You can go and watch it in this video. And after that, we have covered some of the gain and dissipation factors in the GPR signals. So basically, once we have the understanding what are the factors that occurs, what are the factors that play roles in the dissipation of the signal of GPR, then we are able to apply the appropriate gain. So today in this lecture, as I already talked about the main funda of today's lecture, which is the resolution of GPR. So basically, first question that comes into the mind is what is the resolution. So once we have the basic definition of the resolution, then we can go further for the resolution in GPR and what sort of resolutions that we deal and what are the factors that affects the resolution of GPR. So basically, as you can see in this picture, we have this predefined region which is further divided into smaller regions, and this region cannot be divided further in small regions. So if we put that restriction on the region of interest in any image, then this smallest region that cannot be further divided into further regions is known as 1 pixel. So basically, on the vertical and the horizontal axis, you can see there are 8 pixels joined together, making this region as a study of investigation. So basically, resolution is basically the 8 into 8 pixels. See, 8 pixels from here and 8 pixels from here. So for this region, the resolution will be 64 pixels. The standard view of writing resolution is basically in this red square, red in this red region, and the actual total resolution is calculated in this blue box. So this is the resolution of this region. And what is the definition? So basically, in computers, resolution is the number of pixels, individual points of color. So basically, as these small units has their equal dimension, um, but the property that they are associated with, maybe the any factor, maybe it can be like color, or it can be any other sort of physical, having some physical uh, background like amplitude or something. Okay, so the number of pixel in this region is totally going to define what is the resolution of the region, and this region may be a image or something. So contained on display monitor, expressed in terms of number of pixels on the horizontal axis and number of vertical axis. As I told you in this example, same thing is written here. So the sharpness of image, that's the second thing. What is the sharpness of image on a display depend on the resolution and size of the monitor. So as I am recording it on my laptop, is this video, it has a specific resolution. So uh, that totally depend how much sharp the image will be. So basically on this right hand side you can see 10 units on the horizontal axis, and we can consider 10 units on the vertical also. So this is a low density as compared to the this region. So basically this has 1 unit equals to 1 pixel, but here 1 unit equals to the 4 pixels. So 4 pixels in this region is equals to the 1 pixel in this region. And as go for the high density, we have 9 pixels. We can go further also, like 10, 12 or 20 pixels or further more. So basically as number of pixels in a single unit increases, then we can say the sharpness of the image is increasing. And for better interpretation, we always prefer to have the higher number of pixels in a single unit, or we can say higher number of pixels in any specified region of investigation. That's the main thing. Okay, so what can we think about when we are dealing with the GPR? You see here in this image we have taken an example of GPR image. So it's basically the C-scan. So here you can see on the both this is x-axis and this is y-axis. So x-axis and y-axis represents basically, we can say, the northing or easting, okay, so or latitude and longitude of any region. So basically you can see here and here we have two different images with different number of pixels associated with the same amount of a unit. Okay, so in A we can say 1 gigahertz is used, 1 gigahertz antenna is used, and in B 2 gigahertz antenna is used. So basically as the frequency increases, you can see the sharpness is more in this image, in image B as compared to the image P. So in subsurface, to what minimum extension of any object can be seen is basically defining our resolution using GPR. But it's only the C scan that we are shown this we are showing this example here and discussing it. But as we go for the B scan or A scan, the definition of resolution definitely changes. So as we see some of the example here for the separation of rebars. So basically it resolution, what resolution tell us about GPR images. See, these are the different uh, uh, scans. Basically these are the B scans, or we can say the profiles of GPR. So here you can see the the time axis, or it can be converted into the depth section as we use the proper velocity of electromagnetic wave in the material of investigation. So here on the x-axis, the basically the survey line or the dimension of the survey line is shown. So it is from 0.4 to 1. Okay, it is in the meter, and this is in the nanoseconds. So basically as in this case the resolution is very high, and the sharpness of the image can be seen very high, of very high quality. But in the image B, the resolution and sharpness decreases as we go into the C section, C scan, and this C image, then the resolution decreases further, and the sharpness also. So basically different frequencies for the same depth of investigation and the same targets gives the different resolutions. For example, this is for the 1 gigahertz, this is for 700 megahertz, and this is for 500 megahertz. So what are the types of resolution that we are going to deal here? Basically here is longitudinal, or we can say the depth, or sometimes it's known as the range or temporal resolution length. So basically it is a very big name, but different literatures and different people from the industry call it with the different names. So whether we call it the longitudinal or we call it the depth or range or temporal, all the same. And same goes for the lateral or the angular resolution. Then we are going to talk about a little bit this span resolution and the grid resolution. So in these images, you can see uh, on the image on the left, in the image on the left, basically you can see antenna. Okay, so basically there is a emitter and a receiver. So we have two different objects at the same depth level in the first case in this image, and we have to investigate uh, what kind of separation, what kind of minimum separation should be there to be investigated these two different objects. So basically, the resolution delta L and delta R. Delta L represents the lateral resolution, while if the targets are one above, okay, at the same position on the x-axis, and different depths are there. So basically, there are cases when some utilities goes at the same position, same lat long, but different depths. See, problem is in the case where a big radius pipe is on the upper side, and some sort of low diameter pipe is just below that pipe. Okay, then there is difficulty to understand whether it's a single utility or two different utilities. And same goes in this case, as this delta L decreases, the ability of GPR interpreter and GPR itself goes in a decreasing way, so that they won't be distinguishable as we talk about. So basically, on the right hand side, you can see the transmitter and receiver. So basically, this unit represents the GPR together. So what happens when we send the pulse? It doesn't goes in a straight way. Okay, it goes with a spherical character. So basically, these two dotted half circles represents the half spheres in 3D. So the difference between these the footprint of antenna, as the antenna's range increases, its range of investigate increases, but the resolution decreases. So basically, delta L is increasing, so which is known as basically the lateral or angular resolution length. So delta R is basically how much these two crust and troughs are separated, or number of sample are separated from each other. So basically, it is known as the range resolution length, or we can also sometimes call them the horizontal and the vertical resolution. So in this case, delta L represents the horizontal and delta R represents the vertical resolution. uh, in both cases, in cases like when we are dealing with delta R, you can see it can be in the dimensions of depth, or it can be in the dimensions of time, which is basically the output of the GPR unit. Then we have to convert it into the depth section, but basically both terminologies has units in time also. So as we talk about the radial or the pulse width, basically, then consider this case where the pulses are sent into the subsurface. So basically, in the image A, what we can see, that there are two peaks. So basically, each peak represent the individual sample, okay, going into the subsurface simultaneously. Okay, so T represents the time difference between the peaks of these two uh, samples, and W represents basically what sort of width of the pulse is. So if we consider W as a half width, then half of this half width is the minimum requirement for any of the signal uh, that is coming back from the subsurface to be considered as a good resolution, with good resolution. So basically, in case of figure A, what we can see, the pulses clearly separate. So this separation, if this separation is sufficient enough to any target to be identified between these, if the dimension of the target is basically one fourth of the one fourth of the, or one half of the W, which is always W is represented here as the half width. So basically, if the total wavelength, if we take the total wavelength of the pulse, then and multiply it with 1 by 4, then we get the dimension, minimum dimension to be identified using the GPR. So basically, the pulse should be clearly from with a proper separation. What happens when pulses overlap? See, if this case occurs, then both the targets which doesn't have satisfied, which doesn't satisfy the condition for minimum resolution, then they to distinguish two total different targets will going to give you a single single what we say, single hyperbola, if in case we are talking for the pipes, you see. So what happens, pulse coincide, then it's totally undistinguishable. So basically, if they are separated in time by less than this amount, then they will most likely be interpreted as a single event. That's what I'm trying to say. So radial resolution is totally given by greater than or equal W V by 4. So where W represents the half width of the pulse, and V represents the velocity. So basically, the factor here that majorly plays role is W, and velocity is almost constant. So coming here for the typical examples where the radial resolution plays the role, considering the factor where suppose we have uh, a project where we have to define different layers of pavement, any road, which is basically from millimeter to some centimeters, then the resolution has to be taken very carefully. If we talk about some geological layers, sometimes we have to define resolution accordingly. If the geological layer are very narrow, very small in the width dimension, then it is difficult for a low frequency antenna, for example 500 megahertz, to interpret them. For example, if we are considering the rebar diameter, okay, then there is difficulty to define the diameter also, and what is the separation between two individual rebars, that has to be considered first. So basically, as you can see in this table, here we can say the frequency in megahertz. We have 50, 200, 600, and 2000. So basically 2000 comes 2 gigahertz. So frequency is increasing. So approximate target size, how much the target size should be while using these frequencies. So for 50 megahertz, 50 centimeter target is easily identified, for example sewer or geological features. And for 200 megahertz 17 centimeter will be enough. So uh, as we are increasing the frequency, the target size is totally decreasing. As in case of 2 gigahertz, the size becomes 1.25 centimeters, which is in the case of rebars and BT cables. So basically the same concept has to be followed here. Using the GPR under typical circumstances, we are able to resolve target approximately one fourth of the wavelength of transmitted signal. So basically we have the signal and we know the velocity, then of course we can get the wavelength, and we divide it by the factor of 4, then we have the actual dimension, minimum dimension of the size that can be seen clearly. So these thumb of rules should be obeyed before going for any particular project. And there is if there is a question of using any particular antenna in terms of resolution, we have to consider these thumb rules. So here is another example. For here I have gathered from 20 megahertz to 1500 megahertz, and we can totally see the dimension, minimum dimension of the target in meters. So basically here you can see also, like from 20 meters to 0.3 meters, it has totally decreased as the frequency increased. So approximate size in soil meters. So it is the depth, approximate imaging depth in soil, this is the depth, sorry, and this is the size. So basically these factor has to be considered first before go for any particular project. Coming to the factor where the attenuation plays a major role. So see, if we say the alpha is the attenuation factor, and omega is the frequency of the transmitted signal, and mu represent here the magnetic properties of the material, sigma is conductivity, electrical conductivity of the material, and this factor basically depend upon majorly on the frequency. So if what happens, earth acts as a low pass filter, means it allows only the low frequency to pass through it. Okay, it is the rule of nature. So according to this formula, what happens, suppose we have a higher frequency, okay, then what happens, smaller wavelength, shallower and more detailed. So basically this is what happening when we are talking about the gigahertz frequency. So as the frequency is high, as as if we use the high frequency, then the smaller wavelength, the small wavelength becomes very small. Wavelength basically defined here from this you know from the starting point from this. Oh, and once the waves completes its circle up to from here, okay, for from here to here, we can consider it as the wavelength. So if we have wavelength, we divide it in the four basically four parts. One is here and then another is there. So from here to here, this much section, this much dimension in meter is totally going to define how much dimension it can be able to capture from the subsurface. Suppose the factor where the depth is increasing. So as the depth increases, then frequency, basically the frequency uh, of the transmitted signal, which is in the higher band, get attenuated, and only lower frequency. So basically lower frequency goes into the deeper parts of the subsurface. So basically this is what happening when the frequency we are using is in the gigahertz. Then it goes only the in the geotechnical investigation, for example in the concrete investigation, some sort of rebar investigations, and sort of that. So basically the depth of penetration is basically around 70 centimeter or 75 centimeter or 90 centimeter. That's the depth of penetration in the gigahertz range. So the range in the depth is basically contrast decreasing, but the resolution is increasing. But in case of lower frequencies, where it is able to penetrate much deeper, but the resolution decreases. As only, if we consider the wavelength here, then the wavelength is very wide, okay, and there is a thumb rule of wavelength divided by 4 should define the radial resolution of the antenna or of the GPR unit. Then basically in second case, when the larger wavelength is there from here to, we can consider here, then if we divide it into the 4 section, then almost from here to here, okay, this is the dimension that we have to consider. But we have to consider that it is also stretching as the depth is increasing. So basically, the deeper the target, it should has to have, has to have a higher dimensions to be detected with accordance to the W by 4 rule. Coming into the section of lateral resolution, basically in this picture here, you can see the transmitter and receiver. So basically there are two different targets, 1 and 2. Both are separated from their centers by the separation delta L, and this delta L is basically defined as the lateral resolution, which is greater than or equal to the velocity times depth time uh, uh, this is the uh, half of the wavelength, okay. W defines here the half of the wavelength divided by 4 and under root of the whole factor. So basically this is the lateral resolution. How we can define two different targets separately. If delta L is not valid enough, if the delta L decreases, then basically we can say that the resolution is decreasing. Or if delta L is well defined, if 1 and 2 both the targets are separated enough for the used you know used pulse, the used pulse for which W is you know using the W by the wavelength lambda divided by 4, that factor, then this is a very resolved resolution for any GPR antenna. So basically what we have discussed in the radial radial resolution, same thing is happening here for the lateral resolution. But we can also define it in the Fresnel zone. So basically Fresnel zone is the zone or any region with x and y coordinates having the dimension that is able to be detected. It is the terminology, the Fresnel zone terminology is basically used in the seismic prospecting, and it is very similar. If we define the bandwidth B of the transmitted signal, then W can be 1 by B, or we can say for any monochromatic, or we can say the central frequency of antenna, W will be 1 by FC, giving the relation where FC is defined as the central frequency of a monochromatic signal, and V is the velocity of the signal in the material, and lambda C basically gives the wavelength of the signal. So basically we can replace the factor FC divided by V by lambda C, okay. So here comes the lateral resolution in terms of depth and wavelength, okay. So this is how we have to consider when two different ducts of any wires are laying in the subsurface, and we have to define number of ducts or number of cables or number of pipes in case then this situation has to be fulfilled first for any GPR unit to be used for your particular project. So here comes the grid resolution. So what are the grid? Okay, basically you can see in this picture here, what we do, we have this point 0, 0. Okay, it is the starting point for each and every survey line. So each line in this region is giving a signature of the position of the survey line that we have acquired. Okay, so we can see that the individually two simultaneously occurring lines are separated by 1.5 meter here and 1.5 meter here. So basically this is the actual picture of the grid. Okay, suppose this is the direction. Okay, this is the direction, this arrow represents the direction of the acquisition. Okay, from this line, this x-axis to upper axis. Okay, okay, these are basically called the y orientation or GPR measurement lines, and here x orientation GPR measurement lines. So basically both are equally spaced. Okay, what happens? Okay, consider the factor if we increase the delta y and delta x. Okay, then we can say that the resolution of this grid, so basically the separation of the grid, okay, it is going to be decreased. Okay, so if we increase the resolution, if we increase the separation here, then the resolution will be decreased. As in this case, simultaneously, there are five lines. If we take the first five lines from 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, these five lines, if they are separated by 1.5, it's a good resolution, good grid resolution. If we increase the separation, then the area will be covered more. Suppose if, from here to here we are able to detect, we are able to cover the area, but the resolution will be compromised. So smaller the separation of the lines in the grids, the better the resolution will be, to define what sort of changes are there with respect to the position. Okay, we can see the changes here. This is the contrast layer, and you can see the contrast layer is decreasing here, and it is gone from here to all the way up. Okay, and same goes for the this region. Okay, there are changes. So basically we can define in the 3D what sort of changes are there in the region, and we can contour all the region according to their um, physical property. Basically it can be amplitude, it can be the some sort of strata. Okay, and we can totally define the grid resolution according to our project requirements. So that has to be considered first. Okay, before planning any particular project, we have to go for the grid resolution first. Okay, resolution can also be defined in some sort of simple terms used in GPR. So suppose in this section here, in this image here, this is the survey direction. Okay, and this is depth. And this is a line reflector shown here in the red color. Okay, so what happens if we acquire data from point A to B? Okay, this these separation, okay, they are totally going to defined by the distance between the traces. So basically at position 1 we have one trace, at position 2 we have another trace, and so it goes on. So basically this is the the distance between the traces. If we minimize the distance between the traces, then the resolution will be increased in the in the survey line direction. So basically, the lateral dimension of the investigated material, investigated target will increase as we decrease the, you know, distance between individual traces. And same goes for the sample space. Okay, so this is the first sample that see what happens. We transmit number of samples in single trace. So number of points in a trace defines how much points are there when we digitize. Okay, when we digitize the analog signal into, you know, into digital one. So basically, number of points in a trace in a sample has to be very high if we are going for a higher resolution. uh, there are, you know, various terminologies used by different manufacturers, so we have to consider uh, in the simple terms that the separation between two individual samples in a single trace has to be minimum, or we can say the number of points in a single sample has to be maximum. Okay, for a better radial resolution. Okay, these are the simple terms that we have to be considered while, you know, procuring a GPR, or, you know, go for you know, investigation of any project using the GPR. So, in the end, I would like to ask if there is any question or any suggestion for the page. You can please, you know, drop that in the comment section, and like, share, and subscribe to the channel for further information in the future. We are going to start some of the other geophysical techniques also. For example, I was thinking maybe seismic will be great, and then after we can go for gravity, magnetics, and well logging or mining. You know, these geophysical techniques basically used in a different domains. So we are totally going to uh, uh, begin those playlists as the GPR one is about to finish up. So basically, I'm also thinking about you know, making videos on open source software for GPR. So please give your suggestions, and thank you for watching. Bye.